In this video, we're going to talk about frames and specifically about alignment and positioning and how the two work together. So the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead on the top left and we're going to create a frame. And within this frame, actually, we're going to change the background just so that it's a little bit more visible so that we can understand the concept better. And we're going to create three rectangles right inside of this frame. So we're going to make these black, and as you can see, the rectangles are within the frames by default, since we literally created them within the frame. Now, the very first thing that I wanted to basically show you is the top alignment. So you can align a group of elements with these three options right here when it comes to the vertical alignment. So top alignment, as you can see, it's essentially going to bring everything on the top. And if you make these of different sizes, you're actually going to see this concept even better. If we use the align vertical center, this is going to basically have a imaginary line towards the very center of this three objects. And if we go with the bottom alignment, you can see that now this X line is going to be at the very bottom. Now the same is true also for the vertical alignment, and I'm just going to rotate this for the sake of simplicity. If I select all three of these rectangles and I use the right align, you can see that all of these are moved to the right. Same for the left, and then in the center is going to basically center it vertically. Now let's take a step back and let's go and delete all of them except for one. And I'm going to show you how this works in relation to the frame. So, for example, if I just have one element or even a group of elements and I center it, you can see that it's going to be centered relative to the parent, so the frame. So this is going to be the child, which is relative to the parent. And I can pretty much use all of these alignment options directly in relation to this frame. So this is going to be really useful. And as I mentioned just a moment ago, you can actually create a group. And as you can see, we just grouped it. I used the Command G in order to use the shortcut. And this is going to work pretty much for any object within the group in relation to the frame. Because if you bring these out of the frame and you try to basically use these alignment options, as you can see, it's essentially going to align in relation to themselves. So they're just center aligning in relation to themselves. I'm going to bring this down to 50% opacity so that you can see that this guy is actually still here, and they're just doing them in relation to themselves, compared to if you actually go ahead and bring them into the frame and you can actually align them accordingly and in relation to the frame. Now, one last alignment option, which is quite useful and important at the same time, is going to be, and I'm just going to ungroup this so we just have one single rectangle, and I'm going to create a few different smaller rectangles, and I'm going to basically give them some different spacing between one another, and they are all loosened up. And now under the more options, I want to show you this feature right here, which is tidy up. As you can see, it's going to, in this case, tidy up the spacing in between them horizontally. And if I use Command Z, and I use the distribute horizontal spacing, you can see how this works in a very similar way, just that it's only focused on horizontal spacing. You can also go over here and vertically center them. And as you can see, you can start mixing up these concepts that you just learned in order to create order and give specific alignments in a very precise way and in a very fast way. And this is going to be true also horizontally. So if we bring this frame and we tilt it 90 degrees and we move around these guys right here so that they have different spacing, I'm going to use the distribute vertical spacing right here in order to actually give the same spacing vertically. You can also center them according to their zone, and as you can see, we achieved the very same result in a matter of a few seconds. So this is the spacing and the relation to the frame in just a few minutes. Now I encourage you to take a moment and experiment, because this is actually going to be something that you're going to use extensively in your career as a designer. So it's really important to master and become familiar with these tools.